At our joint birthday bash, my wife's best friend pulled me aside and said, "You deserve to know, she's been with someone else for months." When I confronted my wife, she smirked and said, "You were always plan B if nothing better came along." I made sure the DJ played every screenshot of her affair on the big screen before I left her alone at her own party. I'm Rick. I'm 38. I live in Fort Collins, Colorado. It's a college town with a lot of breweries, a lot of bikes, and until a few months ago, I thought I had a pretty decent life. I met Callie 5 years ago at a 5K. She twisted her ankle a mile in, I helped her to the finish line, and by the end of that day, we'd made plans for coffee. It went fast after that. Moved in within 6 months. Married a year later. I loved her. Still hate how true that feels even now. This year we planned something big, a joint birthday party. Our birthdays are about 3 weeks apart, and since they both fall in spring, we picked a date right in the middle and rented a place near Old Town with a big event room and a projector. The idea was to celebrate both of us. Cake, drinks, dancing, a slideshow of our lives together. We had friends flying in, her parents, even some of her coworkers and her boss. I paid for most of it. She handled the guest list and decor. She wanted everything to look perfect. And it did. But now I know why. It wasn't just about the birthday. It was a stage. A place to show off. A chance to play pretend before everything blew up. The party started fine. Music, wine, small talk. I caught myself looking at her and feeling lucky. That's the part that burns most. I was still in it, right up until the second it all came crashing down. About an hour in, after the cake came out, I noticed her best friend Marissa was standing by herself near the back. She looked uncomfortable. Fidgeting with her bracelet, not really smiling. I walked over and said, "You okay?" She looked around like she was making sure no one was listening. Then she pulled me aside and said, "I can't keep it to myself anymore, Rick. You deserve better." I asked, "What are you talking about?" She looked me dead in the eye. "Callie's been cheating on you. 4 months. Since before Christmas." My stomach dropped. Marissa went on. I told her to stop. She laughs it off. She says you'll never leave her because you're too comfortable. I've seen the messages. He picks her up sometimes. I'm sorry. I didn't even know what to say. I felt cold all over. Like someone shut the heat off in my bones. I walked back into the party and watched her for a while. Callie was by the bar with a few of her coworkers, sipping wine, smiling like she didn't have a care in the world. I stood there, watching her talk about her job, about brunch spots, about nothing. I went back out to the parking lot. Sat in my car. Stared at the steering wheel. Then I checked my phone. Marissa had just sent a flood of screenshots. Messages. Photos. Him in her bed. Her in a mirror selfie with her hand on his chest. Hotel receipts. She even forwarded a voice message where he said, "You wearing that thing I like again?" and she giggled. I didn't cry. I just felt numb. I knew I couldn't let it go. I couldn't just file the papers and move on. Not after what she said next. When I came back inside, I walked up to her and said, "We need to talk." She looked annoyed. "Can it wait? We're kind of in the middle of something." "No," I said. "It can't." I led her out back behind the venue, away from the music and the people. I opened my phone and showed her a picture of her in bed with him. She didn't even flinch. "You were always plan B," she said. "If nothing better came along." That was her answer. Not an apology. Not even a fake excuse. I stared at her and said, "Okay." That was it. Just, okay. She turned and walked back into the party. I went to the DJ booth. Slipped the guy a flash drive and told him, play this after the next song. Don't stop it. He raised an eyebrow but nodded. When the next song ended, the lights dimmed. People thought it was part of the show. The slideshow of birthday pictures faded out. Then the new one started. Texts, I miss your lips. Can't wait for you tonight. Photos. Her on a bed in a red lace bra, smiling. A message from her, he's sweet but kind of boring. I'll string him along a bit longer. The room fell dead quiet. Her dad was standing next to the projector. Her boss sat frozen in a chair. People were whispering. Callie screamed. She tried to run up to the DJ booth but slipped on her heels and hit her knee on the steps. I walked up to the mic and said, Happy birthday, Callie. This party's yours now. Then I walked out. But that wasn't the end. Not even close. I stayed at a cheap hotel that night off Mulberry Street. The kind where the doors open to the parking lot and you sleep with your shoes near the bed. I didn't care. I just needed to be away. From her. From the stairs. From the look on her father's face when the screen lit up with her lies. My phone didn't stop buzzing. Missed calls, mostly from her. A few from her mom. 2 from her boss, oddly enough. I didn't answer any of them. I just sat on that scratchy bedspread, reading every message again. Watching every photo. Listening to her voice in that audio message one more time, laughing like she didn't have a husband at home who thought she hung the damn moon. The next morning, I called a divorce lawyer I knew from high school. Told him everything. Sent him the screenshots. He said, Jesus, Rick, and promised to get the paperwork started. Then I went home. When I walked into the house, the lights were still on. Her shoes were by the door, tossed like she'd stumbled in late. I figured she'd be at work. I was wrong. She was sitting at the kitchen table. No makeup. Hoodie and sweats. Eyes swollen. She looked up and said, You humiliated me. That's what she opened with. Not, I'm sorry. Not, can we talk? Just that. You cheated, I said. You called me Plan B. I gave you everything. I made a mistake, she said. No. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. You carried out a full-on relationship with someone else. You made choices. Over and over. She stood up and got loud. You embarrassed me in front of everyone I know. You embarrassed me in front of my whole life. She tried to play victim. Said I ruined her job. Said Brent dumped her because he didn't want drama. Said people were gossiping and her image was trashed. I looked at her and said, good. She called me cold. Said I was performing for attention. I told her, no, Callie. I just finally let people see who you are. That shut her up. She moved out 2 days later. Took half the furniture and left a note saying she was sorry things had to get ugly. I thought that'd be the end. But of course, it wasn't. 2 weeks later, I got served. She was contesting the divorce. Wanted alimony. Claimed she put her career on hold for our marriage. Said I ruined her reputation and caused emotional harm. Even had her boss write a letter saying the slideshow caused a hostile work environment because people were whispering about her. I lost it. I sent everything to my lawyer. Every text. Every picture. Every audio file. Even the footage from the venue. Yep, I'd paid for a videographer. That camera caught her face the second the first text popped up. And then came the twist I didn't see coming. Marissa called me. Said she needed to meet. Urgently. We met at a diner on College Avenue. She looked nervous. "There's more," she said. I just stared at her. "More what?" "She's pregnant." I felt like someone punched me in the throat. "She told me last night," Marissa went on. "She doesn't know if it's yours or Brent's." I couldn't breathe. I sat there in that booth staring at my coffee like it could explain the whole mess. Marissa looked sick just telling me. She kept whispering like someone might hear, even though the only other person in the place was a teenager wiping down menus. "She's sure she's pregnant?" I asked, barely getting the words out. "She took 2 tests. Says she's about 6 weeks. That timeline didn't help much. It could have been me. Or Brent. Or hell, some other guy if she'd been lying longer than anyone knew." I didn't say anything. I just got up, left cash on the table, and walked out. I didn't call Callie. Didn't message her. But the next morning, a thick envelope showed up on my doorstep. No return address. Inside were more screenshots. Only this time, they weren't from Brent. They were from someone else. His name was Drew. He worked at a gym in Loveland. I recognized him. We'd been at a couple of barbecues together. I even spotted him in one of our Christmas party photos 2 years ago. Always just assumed he was a friend of a friend. The screenshots were worse. Cruder. She told him she needed a break from vanilla, and that Brent was nice but too soft. There were photos too. Graphic ones. I nearly dropped the envelope. Marissa texted me later. Said she didn't send the package, but someone from Callie's own office did. Apparently, once word got out about her little show at the party, people started talking. One woman came forward. Said Callie had been bragging to her about juggling 2 guys like it was some game. When the slideshow hit, people went digging. Turns out, Brent wasn't the only office hookup. And now someone had made sure I knew. I forwarded everything to my lawyer. He called me that evening. "You still want to settle, or do you want to go scorched earth?" I didn't even pause. "Let it burn." He said, "Then we bring all of this to court. She wants alimony? Fine. We show the judge what she was doing. You'll be lucky if she doesn't owe you money." But that wasn't the end of the twists. A week before our first hearing, I got another message. This one from Brent. "Can we talk?" I didn't want to. I hated the guy. But something told me I needed to hear it. We met at a brewery off Harmony. He looked rough. Pale. Nervous. "I didn't know she was married at first," he said. "She told me you 2 were separated. Said you were controlling. She lied to me, man. I'm sorry." I didn't say anything. Just kept sipping my beer. Then he dropped the real bomb. "She told me she was gonna say the baby was mine. That she needed to lock it down before she lost everything." I nearly spit out my drink. "I'm not even sure it's mine," he said. "I haven't seen her since the party. But if she tries to put my name on the birth certificate, I needed you to know." So now, there were at least 3 possibilities for the father. And one of them might still be me. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat on the edge of the bed staring at the floor, wondering how I got here. How I went from planning a party for the woman I loved to gearing up for court against someone I couldn't even recognize anymore. The hearing was coming. And so was the truth. The day of the hearing, I showed up in a navy suit I hadn't worn since a friend's wedding. My lawyer met me outside the courthouse and handed me a file. "This has everything," he said. "Make sure you're calm. Don't take the bait." Inside, Callie sat at the front with her lawyer, wearing a soft gray dress and a fake sad face like she was at a funeral. She didn't look at me. Maybe she couldn't. The judge was a no-nonsense woman in her 50s who looked like she'd seen every kind of mess come through her courtroom. We started with the basics. Marriage history. Dates. No kids yet, though that changed fast. Callie's lawyer brought up her emotional damages. Said I intentionally humiliated her in front of colleagues and family. Claimed I was trying to destroy her livelihood. Then my lawyer stood up. He said, "Your Honor, we have evidence of a long-term extramarital affair, including additional partners. My client funded the majority of their lifestyle while she carried out multiple relationships behind his back." The alleged public embarrassment? It was simply truth being shown. Then came the folder. We handed over everything. The texts, photos, timestamps. The audio recordings. The second set of screenshots from Drew. Even the statement from Brent saying he was lied to. It was all there, labeled, sorted, dated. And finally, the paternity test. Because I had taken it the moment I knew. Quietly. Paid out of pocket. Called in a favor at a clinic. The baby wasn't mine. The judge stared at the paperwork a long time. Then she looked at Callie. "You filed for alimony under false pretenses. You attempted to mislead this court, your spouse, and potentially the father of your child. This is not just a divorce. This is manipulation." Her voice didn't rise. But it hit harder than if she'd yelled. She ruled against Callie. Denied her alimony. Ordered her to cover half my legal fees. Told her that if Brent, or anyone else, wanted to claim paternity, she'd need to sort it out with them. But I was done. The case was closed. The divorce finalized 2 weeks later. I moved out of the house. Sold my half to a rental company. Let them deal with her. Word got around town. Her boss quietly fired her for performance reasons. Her parents stopped speaking to her. Marissa cut all ties. Brent blocked her number. She tried to contact me once. A long email. Said she'd been lost. Said she was scared. Said she'd missed who we used to be. I didn't answer. I forwarded the email to my lawyer just in case, then deleted it. Here's what I learned. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Love doesn't fix lies. And some endings are gifts, even if they come wrapped in fire. I'm not proud of everything. Maybe airing her out like that was harsh. Maybe I could have walked away quiet. But after what she did? After being Plan B? I wanted her to feel what I felt. Alone. Betrayed. Publicly. And she did. That was the end of us. And the beginning of me.